It's the list that we've been waiting for, as this month we released the Middle East Top 100 CEOs for 2024. I'm Sally Musa and this is Inside Forbes. In the August issue of Forbes Middle East, we meet the leaders making a difference at the head of the region's most dynamic and influential organizations. And so to delve into this and the latest stories, it's great to welcome back Claudine Coletti, our managing editor. Claudine, so good to see you.
Hi Sally, great to see you.
Oof, this is the defining CEO list of the region, featuring the executives driving the growth across the Middle East economies and deciding on the investments and innovations that are really going to shape the future. So tell us a bit more about what's happening in the list this month.
Honestly, this is a bit of a bumper issue. So yes, we do have the top 100 CEOs for 2024, and it is our fourth list. But at the same time, we actually have our Global Meets Local, and this is the 12th consecutive year that we've done that list. So it's actually very rare for us to publish at the same time two such huge lists.
Right.
But we've decided to do so this time because it really gives a full view of the landscape. So like the top 100 CEOs, they're at the head of homegrown companies, as you mentioned, the biggest homegrown companies, the most influential companies. The Global Meets Local are the regional heads of international companies. So to look at them both together, it really gives us a whole view of business in the Middle East and who's driving it.
Claudine, these are the executives who are driving growth across the Middle East economies and deciding on the investments and innovations that are really going to shape the future of this region. So for you, what kind of movements are we seeing in the list? Who's at the top? What are the industries that are really leading here?
I mean, of course, Saudi Aramco is number one.
Yes.
Of course, as it would be. But there's definitely movement in the list every year. So with the top CEOs, we look at the heads, as mentioned, of the biggest companies, and we look at the impact they've had, their achievements of the last year, as well as their experience and the size of the company, etc. And you do find movement as year by year goes by. So, I mean, this year, Emiratis dominate. There are 27 entries, I think, are Emirati, followed by Egypt and Saudi. The banking sector dominates. It's a very, very stable sector in this region. That accounts for 19 entries. That's followed by real estate, again, just one of the huge growth areas. But what's interesting is when you compare that to the Global Meets Local list, which is the international companies. So in the Global Meets Local, we find technology as the dominant field, followed by pharmaceutical companies. Also, there's much more variance, I guess, in terms of the nationalities on the list. So we have 104 executives across 100 companies. The Lebanese are actually at the top, but only with 12 entries. And they're followed by India and then UK and France with 7 entries each. So it's really, you see a real difference as well as trends between the two of them. And that's why it's very fascinating to look at them side by side.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, Amin H. Nasser, of course, the group CEO of Saudi Aramco, he is at the very top. When we look at the list there, just a couple of names at the very top. Sultana Jabir, of course, group CEO, managing director of ADNOC is there, and the former president for the COP28 as well. It's the first time that we saw a CEO as the president of a COP when he was there. When we look at women, of course, we've got Hana Rastomani. She is always there in the close to the very top of the list for First Abu Dhabi Bank as well. Of course, Pure Health. Shaista Asif, she is in there as well. Big things going on for Pure Health right now. But coming back to Saudi Aramco, I love this because in this edition, we have global and regional titans going head to head. We're looking at NVIDIA versus Aramco.
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting comparison to make. Obviously, NVIDIA became the largest company in the world based on market cap in June. Aramco is our giant in this region. But if you look at them side by side, I mean, maybe I'm a bit biased. I think Aramco kind of tops them. I mean, they've got way bigger net income in Q1. They've been going longer. But Nvidia, they have the market cap. Their market cap at the time of the analysis was nearly double Saudi Aramco's. I think theirs was 3.2 trillion, Saudi Aramco 1.8. But it's interesting to see them side by side.
You're absolutely right. They were at one point the biggest corporation in the world. That keeps fluctuating between them, between Apple, between Microsoft and Nvidia there. And it's very interesting, you know, when we're looking at AI, investment in AI, particularly when we're talking about hardware and software, Nvidia is at the very front. And there was so much interest in the past few months, but you do feel like investment in AI is cooling a little bit. So that could be something that affects them as well.
It could be. I mean, obviously, the huge market cap for Nvidia comes from so much interest in investing in them as they grow. But I mean, going back to the Global Meets Local list, that actually derives from the Forbes Global 2000, which is the 2,000 biggest companies in the world. And if you actually look at that, Saudi Aramco is number 3 in the world, biggest company. Nvidia is 110 this year. So again, it's if you look at the bigger picture, it's a very interesting comparison.
Absolutely. Of course, in June, the oil giant, they implemented their second public offering on the Saudi exchange. And that was giving them a boost of 11.23 billion as well. So definitely the growth is continuing there. It'll be really interesting to see how they measure up moving forward as well. It's interesting when we look at who our cover star is this month. It is none other than Ahmed Khalifa Al Qubaisi, the CEO of the Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce and Industry, somebody that has really been looking at a lot of partnerships between public and private to really drive the economy here, not just in Abu Dhabi, in the country, in the region.
Absolutely. So Abu Dhabi's non-oil sector grew by 9% last year. I think it hit 166 billion. And the Abu Dhabi Chamber are really a kind of liaison and a contact between private business and government. And creating those connections, I mean, it's hugely beneficial to both sides of that coin. So our story kind of goes into all the work he's done. He only took his current role about a year ago.
Yeah.
But the difference he's made in that year, I think since taking the role, he's implemented about 150 new initiatives to really drive the ease of doing business in Abu Dhabi and attract more capital and more business to our capital. And I mean, part of those initiatives has actually involved a global initiative whereby they're hosting delegations from international countries and also international events. So they're opening access between Abu Dhabi businesses and international businesses, really putting the capital on the map. So it's a very interesting story.
Digital transformation has been definitely part of that to help open up the Emirate globally as well. They were the first to have a chamber GPT in there and, you know, thousands of interactions with that. And like you say, new legislations being brought in to really propel forward the ease of doing business and making the Emirate and the country more business friendly. So that story is in there as well. So much to explore. But one of the things that you and I love to do is watch the Olympics.
Oh, I miss it. I miss it so much already.
Right? We already miss it. I know. But this is something that we talk about in this month's edition as well.
Yeah, I mean, I never get bored of it. I think you can keep highlighting the Olympics for forever. We pull out a few key facts and figures. There were a few firsts in this year's Olympics, I think, as everyone knows. I mean, ironically, they might not have actually gone down so well. So it was the first time swimmers were encouraged to swim in the River Seine for like 100 years. Obviously, now we know there were a few technical difficulties, but they did get there in the end. It was the first Olympics to include breakdancing, but that's not going to make it to LA in 2028 now.
I wonder if Australia has anything to do with that.
Excellent television, if nothing else.
Honestly, that was a moment that definitely went viral. But, we had a few athletes who from this region, from the Middle East, who did incredibly well and brought home gold medals and even medals for the first time for their countries too.
Absolutely. It was just an incredibly proud couple of weeks. So, yeah.
It was fantastic. It was absolutely incredible. We love that. That is in this edition as well. You know, Claudine, what's really interesting is we are about to jump into the busy season. Summer is over. Everybody's back. We are about to enter the events season. And for us here at Forbes Middle East, we have our very first of many events coming up. Next month in September, it is the Healthcare Leaders Summit.
Yeah, it's entering that season now. I think every month is going to feel like we're doing our own Olympics.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we have our Healthcare Summit coming up 19th and 20th of September. After that, we have sustainability. After that, we have wellness, and we have under 30, and we have the Women's Summit. I mean, all details are up on the website. So absolutely everyone should go and take a look. There is just so much to be getting involved with.
It is going to be incredible. It is always fantastic. It is the place to see those who are really leading in their respective industries, who are making the biggest impact as well. They're going to be there speaking in panel discussions, you know, everybody from industry leaders to even influencers, content creators, you know, people who are really making a difference. It's an incredibly exciting time. I always love our events. There is always so much to explore. And the website is there, Forbes Middle East events.com. You just go there.
I think there's a slash in there somewhere. So yeah, if you go onto the website, we have our events category at the top. It's very easy to find. You forgot the most important speaker, Sally. You're going to be there, obviously.
I'm going to be there. That is for sure. But I know that there are going to be many more who are much more important than I am there as well. So, and you are going to be there, of course.
Absolutely. The whole gang will be.
Yeah, we're all going to be there. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful as well for us to be meeting those who are regular readers of the magazine. We love doing that as well. And people, you know, telling us what they love to see in Forbes Middle East as well. So it's going to be fantastic.
Yes.
Looking forward to seeing you there. And I am going to be there, and it's going to be incredible. Thank you so much, Claudine.
Thank you.
So much to look forward to in this bumper issue of Forbes Middle East magazine. Make sure you do get into this latest edition. It is available right now, both in print and online in both Arabic and English.